Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something called hypervigilance. And right off the bat, I want to reframe this. This isn't about a disorder or something being wrong with you. We're going to look at it as a deeply human and, frankly, an intelligent response to overwhelming experiences. Think of it like your brain's alarm system, but it's gotten stuck in the on position.
Does that phrase hit home for you? That feeling, that constant nagging sense that you have to brace for the next bad thing, even when everything seems okay? It's like you're wearing this heavy suit of armor, all day, every day. It's exhausting, right? So what is this feeling? It actually has a name. And just being able to put a name to it can be the very first step toward feeling a sense of safety again. It helps us understand what's actually going on inside.
All right, let's get into it. First up, we're going to define what hypervigilance really is. We're going to name that heavy armor we just talked about, not as some kind of personal flaw, but as a protective shield, one that your brain built for a very good reason. So here it is, the official definition. But let's break that down. Hypervigilance is basically a state of being on high alert, 24/7. Your senses are dialed up to 11. It's your survival instinct working overtime, constantly scanning for danger. It's like your nervous system took on the job of being a full-time bodyguard and it never, ever clocks out.
But where does this even come from? Well, it's not random. It's actually a pretty brilliant and adaptive response to things you've been through. Let's take a look at how really stressful or traumatic experiences can literally rewire the brain's safety settings.
And this slide, I think, shows the difference perfectly. Think of it like this. Normal vigilance is like a flashlight. You turn it on when you need to see something specific in the dark, and then you turn it off. Hypervigilance, that's like a giant stadium floodlight that is always on, blinding you, and just completely draining your battery. It makes true rest feel pretty much impossible.
Here's another way to think about what's happening in the brain. We all have a smoke detector. It's called the amygdala, and its job is to alert us to danger. Well, trauma can make that smoke detector super sensitive. It starts going off for just a little bit of steam from the shower. At the same time, the part of your brain that's supposed to say, "Hey, relax, it's just steam, not a fire," that's the prefrontal cortex. It's like its brakes have been cut. The alarm just keeps on ringing.
And this really gets to the heart of it, especially when we talk about childhood trauma. See, if a kid grows up in a home that's chaotic or scary, their brain learns a really tough lesson, that peace is just the quiet before the storm. So as an adult, that feeling of calm can, paradoxically, feel like the most terrifying thing in the world.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Hypervigilance isn't a one-size-fits-all experience. The way it shows up for a combat veteran can look pretty different from how it appears in a civilian who's been through a different kind of trauma.
When you think about military personnel, vigilance isn't just an instinct, it's a trained skill. They are literally taught to scan for threats constantly. In a combat zone, that behavior is what keeps them and their buddies alive. It's positively reinforced over and over. That kind of high-stakes learning gets burned into your brain, and it is incredibly hard to unlearn when you get back home. Now, for a lot of civilians, especially survivors of abuse or neglect, the threat wasn't a roadside bomb. The threat was emotional. This creates something we call emotional hypervigilance. You're not scanning for physical enemies, you're scanning for a tiny shift in someone's tone of voice, a look on their face, or that dreaded pause before they reply to a text. The danger isn't physical, it's the threat of being rejected or abandoned.
This data really brings the point home. So, as you'd probably expect, veterans with PTSD have the highest hypervigilance scores. But check out those other two bars. Deployed veterans without a PTSD diagnosis still scored at a level very similar to civilians who do have PTSD. That's pretty wild, right?
So here's the bottom line. For a veteran coming home, being hypervigilant doesn't automatically mean they have a disorder. It can be a completely normal, learned response to the incredibly abnormal environment of a war zone. The experience itself is what changes the brain's settings.
So, what's the cost of living this way? Being on guard 24/7 is just plain exhausting. It takes a massive toll on your mind, your emotions, and, for sure, your physical body. As they say, the body keeps the score.
Mentally, it's like having a computer with 100 tabs open all at once, and every single one is running a search for danger. The cognitive load is just huge. It can look like constant worry, a mind that always jumps to the absolute worst-case scenario, or finding it almost impossible to trust people. It can make you irritable, and it can make it really hard to just focus on one thing.
And your body, it feels every bit of that strain.
When your fight or flight system never gets a break, that stress has to go somewhere. It shows up as knotted muscles in your shoulders, tension headaches, constant fatigue. It can mess with your digestion, it can make your heart race, it can make you jump out of your skin at the slightest sound. And sleep? Sleep can feel like an impossible battle. It's a profound physical exhaustion from a war being fought inside you.
So after hearing all of that, we get to the most important question of all. How can you find safety again? How do you gently teach a nervous system that's been on red alert for months or even years that the danger has actually passed?
And that brings us right here to our final section, the pathways to feeling safe. This is all about learning how to recalibrate that internal alarm system. It's about showing your nervous system gently and patiently that it can finally stand down.
These aren't quick fixes, but they are powerful tools. Things like mindfulness help you step out of catastrophic thoughts about the future and into the here and now. Grounding techniques, like naming 5 things you can see, or feeling your feet on the floor, they literally anchor you in the present moment. And routines? Routines create predictability, which is like a lullaby for a stressed-out brain. It's all about learning to tell the difference between a real threat and a false alarm.
And I think this quote says it all. Ultimately, this is the goal. Healing isn't about erasing what happened. It's about helping your nervous system understand that the past isn't happening right now. It's about teaching your body with so much kindness and patience that it's finally safe to come home to yourself.